Hi, welcome to Fiberchats. My name is Irina. I'm the host here. My guest today is Josh Graff, the dyer behind Red Stag Fibre, and that's the fiber spelled Fibre, the
That's
European
correct.
way. Well, welcome to my channel, and you have some very exciting news that's going to happen tomorrow, and we're going to go into that in details. But before we do, tell me a little bit about yourself. How did you find yourself dyeing yarn?
So I was not a knitter or crocheter, still not a knitter or crocheter. Um, but when I got married, I walked into my wife's apartment and found her with tons and tons and tons of yarn.
And before we
And
go any further, tell us
yeah,
who your wife is so for the people who watch it, they'll know.
my wife is Sharon with the Modern Skein yarn shop in Conroe, Texas.
So she's been familiar with yarn for a
Yes.
long time.
Very long time. She's an avid knitter, avid crocheter. In the past, I did a lot of art stuff, and so I know color and just artsy stuff.
Right.
And so Sharon opened up her shop, and then about a year after that, in order to connect with her more, I decided I would start dyeing yarn. And since I don't knit or crochet, and so I started that, and people started liking it, and it kind of went from that in my kitchen, and it is now grown into a full-fledged business.
So
And
let's talk about that first experiment with yarn when you decided
okay,
you woke up that day and you decided that you're gonna dye some yarn. How did you even learn how to do that?
I actually went on YouTube and found some YouTube tutorials and did it that way.
So was it like super easy from the beginning? Were you a natural at dyeing yarn over there?
Um, I think so. I mean, my first couple rounds were nowhere near what they are today. Uh, Back then I thought they were pretty good, and then I'd see the same color I do now compared to the same color then, and it's like, well, it wasn't that great, but so I've definitely gotten a lot better over time, and the my way of doing it is has changed through the years, just slightly. I've tweaked different parts of the procedure. And so now we're mostly settled on kind of where we are now with how I diet, and it's yeah, it's come a long ways from where I started.
Well, when I watched your wife talk about your yarn, she said there are a few things she particularly likes about it now. So one was that the color is so consistent that you rarely need to alternate the skeins, which like every knitter hates doing. It's just like
Hmm.
a fact. And then she said that she loves the richness and depth of the color and that it gives a perfect yarn definition. So when
Hmm.
it comes to yarn dyeing, there are a lot of dyers out there who use the same bases. How did that go for you? Like, how did you discover the bases that you really enjoy dyeing?
Um, so here recently, it was actually this past 6 months. We really solidified down which bases we were going to, because we have a custom milled base, and then we have a basis from some suppliers. And so um, we were already decided 100% on our custom milled, obviously. But then I was like, okay, so of our yarn bases that we get from our distributor, which ones are more relevant to our brand?
Right.
And so over the last 6 months, we have kind of pared everything down and solidified in the bases that most um, you know most correlate with red stag fiber.
So let's talk about it. Like, what
Okay.
was your vision for Red Stag Fiber? How is it different from other dyers out there? How did it evolve?
I would say that, of course, um, with dyers, most dyers use the same dyes, types of dyes. There's a handful of dyes. There's a handful of distributors for undyed yarn. And so the magic and the difference a lot is the colors that we create and the curation of those colors mixed with the particular bases that we choose to represent our brand. And that's really what really sets each individual dyer apart. And what sets me apart is the fact that I try to do a lot of deep tonals, and I try not to veer outside of the brand. And so that's why we have this custom milled yarn, which is non-superwash, and it is milled in Europe, and the yarn is from, or the wool is from Europe. And so that fits within our branding because our yarn, the brand is based off of European travel with Sharon. And so,
Well, tell me like one story, how you were in Europe traveling with Sharon, and
yeah.
how did it inspire you to create the particular color?
I will say that so we've done a lot of travel to Scotland, and we love Edinburgh, and we've been to the castle. We've just been all over Edinburgh, and I have several bases and several colors that are based off of Edinburgh. And so one is the name, just Edinburgh Castle, and the other one is um, the Gaelic name for Edinburgh. And so that was just the richness of the color of the castle, and just it's on a hill, and it's just kind of a beautiful landscape for having a really solid foundational color because it's kind of a brownish color. And so, and brown just in general is kind of more grounding and foundational. So,
Well, you mentioned that at the beginning you wanted to impress Sharon and get closer to her by
yes.
buying yarn. Did that is that difficult to have a wife who is running her own yarn store? Is she your biggest supporter or your biggest critic when it comes to choosing colors?
She is my biggest supporter, but she will definitely let me know if she thinks this is not a good color or not.
Do you ever disagree on that?
Usually not. We both usually will come to an agreement on it.
Okay, so let's talk about the yarn that you're working on right now. And I
Okay.
got it yesterday in the mail. Can't tell you how excited I was to see this color. So this is it's called French waistcoat. So tell me like a little bit about this yarn, this base, and why did you decide to create this collection?
So I have always wanted to have my own custom blend, and I wanted something I the whole goal in the custom blend was to make something that was very wearable because yarn is my skin is sensitive, so there's not a lot of yarns that I can handle on my skin without me just kind of going,
Right.
oh. Superwash or non-super doesn't matter. There's just
Right.
certain ones that just make me go, oh. And I'll wear it, but I'll be like this the whole day. And so I wanted to find a blend of certain breeds that would give me something that was wearable for me, so soft, non-superwash, that would um, have great stitch definition and that would bloom once it's blocked.
Right.
And so I have this. I don't know, this book with different sheep and their wool and the characteristics and stuff. It's like got 150 different breeds of sheep in it. And so I just kind of read through all of them and then found a meal. I talked to probably 4 or 5 meals and finally decided on one and um, figured out which percentages to do with two of these different breeds that I thought would work great together. And they agreed. And so they put that together, got some samples, and we tried it out. And Sharon, of course, gets to try it out before everybody. And so she's like, no, this is the best yarn I've ever had. So that's kind of how that transpired. And now people have fallen in love with it. So we started off last year launching a sport and DK version in it. And we had that at all of our shows. We had it at Flock, we had it at DFW, we had it at India Entangled last year. And so we decided that this year I would bring in the fingering and worsted version in order to kind of have the whole range.
Right.
And so it's a 75% Polworth, 25% Massam. It is a undyed, it's kind of a super light gray color because the Massam is a gray. And the I made it really simple for if you forget which base it is, you lost the label or whatever. Any of my customs that I ever do, the fingering will be a 2-ply, sport will be a 3-ply, um, DK will be a 4-ply,
Right.
and worsted is a 5-ply.
So
So
that's
just make it
very
really
cool.
easy with the plies. So in case you lose it, you can just how many plies there are? Okay, this is the base it is.
Right. So tomorrow is a very exciting day for you because you're launching two new yarns, right? Tell me a little bit
Yes.
about that.
So I'm launching the Yorkshire fingering and the Yorkshire worsted, which fall under my Manor collection, which is the 75% Polworth and 25% Massam. The yarn that you were gifted is the fingering weight, and I have the worsted here. And so you can kind of
Beautiful
see
color.
this is Brick Tavern. So this is also a very popular color. It sells out pretty quickly. But you can see the thickness of the
Yeah.
yarn. I didn't bring any other to compare it to, but you can see it over here. It's plumpy.
Yeah.
And so yes, so I'm launching those two bases tomorrow, and I'm very excited about it. We've got several of our stockists who have it for the launch, and it's gonna be wonderful.
And I got it as a gift from Mayo from Knitters Without Borders, and she's
Hmm.
one of the stock lists. So if you guys want to check it out there, I'll leave the link below of this people who were carrying it so you can
Yes.
check it out and order yourself. And you're also starting a makealong. So
Yes.
give us some details of that.
So with the make along, it starts March 28th. So it starts tomorrow. It starts um, when we have our launch. So it's going to be March 28th through May 31st. And we have a hashtag for that, which is hashtag RSF Yorkshire MAL, MAL. And so what you can do with this is you can cast on and finish any project. You can knit, you can knit it, you can crochet it, it doesn't matter. But basically the main point is that you're using one of our Yorkshire bases. You can use the fingering, the sport, the DK, or the worsted of the Yorkshire bases. And if you sign up for it and you enter your project that you finished, then you're going to be entered into a drawing for a $100 gift card to Red Stag Fiber. And so there are, like I said, there are one, two, three, four, five. We have 6 different stockists that are participating and carrying one of those 4 bases. Some of them carry all of them, some of them just carry one. And we do have several designs that were knit specifically for this launch. And one of them is the Bageri by River Road Knits. And that's in the fingering weight, the Yorkshire fingering.
And it's a top, right? It's a sweater.
Yeah, it's a sweater.
Mhm.
And then we have the Gridscape Cowl by my wife Sharon, which is designed in the worsted. And she also did the Gridscape hat, which is also in the worsted. So those are three that are the patterns that are launching specifically in the yarn for the launch. And then, of course, any other pattern that you desire to knit or crochet is
Right.
perfectly fine with me. I just want you to enjoy the experience of the yarn.
And I'm going to put the links to those patterns in the description of this video. So if you guys want to check them out, I actually really like the hat that Sharon designed because
Mhm.
it has the most beautiful crown. And
Yes.
lately I've been studying the hat design. So it's like really interesting to see how her construction worked. So highly recommend that hat.
Yes.
People can basically use your yarn for any patterns, and then they just how are you going to choose the winner? Is it from the hashtag?
I have a form where people will submit their pictures of their pattern that they did and or pictures of what they did of their finished project.
Right.
And then I will choose out of everyone who submitted. So in order to get entered in, you have to submit it so that I am aware of it.
Right. And this is like such a great idea because it doesn't limit you to a pattern. It doesn't limit you to craft. You can literally do anything you want to do with that yarn. So
Anything you want. You want to do a sock? Sure. I mean, whatever. Do what you want.
so are you tempted to learn any fiber arts? Like have you
Um, I've been tempted to knit a beanie, knit a hat. I have I've done one row before.
hey, that's
That's
a
it.
start. The most difficult thing in everything is to start, right?
That's right. That's
Because
right.
like once you know how to knit, you know you can do anything.
That's right. And I've been saying I was going to learn how to knit a hat for probably 5 years now. One day it will probably happen. It's just sitting down and doing it.
Well, do you have any time to sit down and do it? Like how many skeins a day have you been dyeing now?
No, we dye a lot. Of course, it depends on the week, depends on the orders. Because I dye up for my website, I dye up for wholesale orders, and I dye up for trunk shows because I do mail-in and in-person trunk shows as well around the country. And so some weeks are a little bit less, and some weeks are like, okay, I'm very tired this week. It's I need some sleep.
Yeah.
But
Well, I wish you the best of luck with the launch of this yarn. I'm sure it's going to be very popular because it's super squishy and soft and just like
yes,
feels wonderful. I can't wait to uh make it into a yarn ball and start knitting with it. So congratulations and
thank
the very
you.
best of luck to you. And you guys, I'm gonna put all the information in the description of this video. So just check it out, register for the make along, and send me pictures of what you're making. I'm really curious to see what you're gonna make with this yarn. Thanks so much, Josh. It was like lovely to have you on my channel, and
Yes, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
thank you.